Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Apothecary Diaries Season 2 episode number 16 reaction. So the previous episode, it was divided into two parts. The first part was where Xiaolan dropped the ice and not people, but that guy was very pissed and he was like, what are we going to do? This is something that obviously at that time ice was very, very difficult to get. You can literally buy like a person for that price. So because all they needed was like an ice treat, we took the ice. Obviously, Mama took the ice and made ice cream out of it. And yeah, it was, it was pretty successful. So that one was like a nice little section, and it kind of showed the growing bond between her and Xiaolan. And then we had the final part, the second half, where we get to see Gyokyo's child is apparently his head, the child's head is apparently on top, so it'll be difficult for delivery. There's like there will be like complications during the process. So Mama asked Gyokyo to make his her adoptive father come back to the palace. Now obviously he was exiled and he was treated as a criminal, so we had Honyang not being happy with that, but Gyokyo was like, it's fine, like we shouldn't, it was something back then, so we shouldn't keep that, like, yeah. So she agreed, and now Mama's father is here. So that it kind of ended there. So let's see what happens. Let us begin episode number 16. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it whichever is your preference, and let's get started. Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, there it is. Yeah, she has to wear it. Damn. Yeah. Hmm. Right. Oh. Oh yeah. Wait, is that his name? Gwyn. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Right. Oh yeah, they were talking about it. Many of them are older. Hmm. Yeah. Damn. Oh. Okay. What? Yeah. True. 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 Yeah. Hmm. Right. If they can use. Right. Okay. Yeah, because obviously at that time you didn't have like a printing machine or anything. Yeah. And it'll also help them practice their writing. Hmm. Right. Oh, it's talking to the cat. What is that? Right. But oh yeah, people are going to be like right. Well, oh yeah, he knows him. Wow, that's funny. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, that person. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and it's also help to mass produce it. Yep. Hmm. Hmm. wants on the. Okay. Well, is something bothering? What's. Wait, did he. Is his memory failing or something? Oh, no, no. Okay, okay. I see. Oh, that's how. Oh, oh wait. Maybe is this how that person got to know how to make the. Okay, no, wait, wait, wait. Okay, maybe. Okay, wait. So I can understand what's bothering Mama, but yeah. Ah, how long? Quite a bit. Yeah. So Loman was here back then. Yeah. Oh, that's a long time. They've been here like 50 years or something. Oh, yeah. Right. That was a thing. Hmm. This is where the resentment was, my friend. Yeah. Yeah. And this is what I was saying. Oh my god. And she used that. Okay, so that is what is going on. Yeah. And she brought those ingredients, made it. Yeah, but she was. So she. Okay, it's a bit of a tricky thing. I'll talk about this later. Because you cannot directly blame her because she just wrote what to not use, but she knew that they might use this to do some harm. Yeah, so it's like a gray zone. Oh my god. Hmm. People add books. Oh, so the I wonder. I know who added that, right? It was Chisu, right? Yeah, Chisu. Yeah, right. I wonder why. Okay, yeah, I am correct. Shisui is the one. Yep, there you go. Oh, that's the other person. This person. Yeah, from season one, right? What was her name? Sui Ray. Ray. Okay, yeah. All these names are so similar. Oh my god. Her hand is. Is that a guy or a girl? Yeah. Right. That's why the hand is like. Whoa! Out of the rare pack? What? Okay, that is a woman, right? Resurrection medicine. What? Lakan. Hmm. Yeah, because of poison, obviously. Silver can detect. Ooh. Hmm. Oh. Yeah. Latest model developed in the West. Okay. Yeah, and I think like they mentioned you can like shoot more than once or something. Allows. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, who knows? Right. Oh wow, that's a problem. Main topic. Yeah. Well. Damn. All right, calm down. Who did tell you? Whoa. Is he color? Wait. Yeah. He's colorblind. Which means, wait a minute. He said red. Yeah. Because he's colorblind. Okay, wait. I need to think. In that episode, wait. Adu, right? Oh my. All right. 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 Okay, that's why she's here. Yeah. Oh, okay. So she. All right. Oh my God. This. Okay. Right. Okay. Wait. There's so many things to think about. The final section, especially. Um. Obviously, they mentioned that to see, like who the person from the original bloodline, like of the empress, if you remember, the first empress. They used to do the whole door thing where the maze thing where the doors had like a distinct color to it, and it used to direct the person with that blood, like and color blindness, in a particular direction, and they would be the only one who could reach the ending. So that would mean Shisho has the same condition. So what does that mean? That he is part of the, okay, I don't know. And then, you know, other than that, a few other things. For example, that, okay, I'm assuming that's a lady, right? uh Suide, that was the name, right? We actually see her this time now properly. Okay, that's it. We actually see her properly this time, like, you know, coming direct in contact with Mao Mao after the happenings in the first season. So, like, so many things are going on. First and foremost, one of the mysteries that was not solved got solved currently in today's episode, which was who was the person who gave, in that lady, the that lady, the Shin, right? That was her name. Who was the person who gave Shin the recipe or the formula to make the abortion, like, like potions, that those things? Who was the one? Because obviously she is not someone who has knowledge about these type of things. It should be someone else. So that mystery got solved. So just like how, if you can remember, in the first part of today's episode, Mama kind of said that, oh, wait a minute, just like how my father writes the things not to use, people can, like, use that knowledge to use them. Like, if you write something that, oh, do not use this, do not use this, someone with bad intentions, like, obviously people who want to avoid any type of, like, complications and any type of, like, danger, they're going to avoid those things. But anyone who has some bad intentions, they might use those in particular to do something bad, right? So using the similar logic, this lady here, what was her name, Shenryu, right? She, obviously, she was also a victim of the previous emperor, and she has this resentment. And not only did, her and a lot of other children were brought in the rare palace at a very young age, but as she said, there's nobody who's waiting for us, nobody in our life, nothing, we literally have nothing, this is the only place that we have now. So they, obviously, she is kind and she's helpful to her fellow, like, to her fellow colleagues and everyone, because they're also in a similar situation. But against anyone from royalty, she is not happy with them. She has a resentment towards them. So that made her, like, makes her try to find opportunities to, do bad stuff to anyone involved with the royal family. So when she found that opportunity, when she, got that opportunity, she wrote down, like, she saw those, like, ingredients, she wrote those down. And I think, like, here, this is where Mama realizes that, wrote those down and gave them to Shin, and were like, oh, do not use these. And obviously she knew Shin had bad intentions, or, Shin is going to use this as an opportunity, so she deliberately did that. So Shin used, like, obviously she didn't tell Shin to do it, directly, she didn't do anything, she just wrote those down. But Shin took that opportunity to use those to make the abortion, like, the things, the medicines, the drugs. And he tried to use those on Lihua. Like, and that is what brought, like, began the whole chain of incidents. So she's the one who is the person who orchestrated this. And even if she did that, there's no proof, she didn't directly tell Shane to do it, so she's not really, you cannot really blame her in that sense. But she's 100% to blame. It's like I said, it's in a gray zone. So that is why Mama was like, should I confront her about it? But then she was like, no, even if she did that, she also helps a lot of people here, like, takes care of because, anyone other than the royal family, she actually helps them, because, she feels bad for them, she sympathizes with them. And yeah, so the only people she has a beef with is other royal family, and anyone involved with them. So Mama realized that, like, first and foremost, I don't have any type of proof. I cannot prove anything here. I cannot do anything. And if I try to make a fuss about this, obviously she'll realize, she'll be on guard. Number one. Number two, if some way or the other this whole place shuts down, then a lot of people will be involved, like, in it, and a lot of innocent people, they would also get involved in it, like. And at the end of the day, like Mama said, she does help people here. So that will, like, like, already they don't have enough people for medical assistance to help in medical situations. If this whole place gets shut down, this clinic, then it'll be a disaster. So Mama was like, I cannot do anything like that. So she decides to keep quiet and keep her eyes and ears open, and tries to get away from there. But the problem struck when Suide comes in immediately. And then Suide immediately says that, oh, she realized what you were doing. Like, you must be more subtle about it. And then she brought in, what's her name? Shisui as a hostage. Now, immediately before that scene, there was a section where Mama was looking at those books, those like, like those books on the shelves, and she found a book where there was a book of, like, insects, like moths and, like, all that stuff. And she remembered. She's like, wait a minute, this is the same book that I'm guessing Shisui used, right? Because she was talking about, reading it in a book, and she caught those, like, like insects. So from that, Mama deduced or realized that something is up with Shisui. So a lot of questions she suddenly had, in her head. First and foremost, how did Shisui get her hand on a book like that? So then, where is that section? Alright, this part. Right, this book. Did Shisui bring it? How can a servant girl own such an expensive book? When Shisui was drawing pictures of insects, she used a notebook made of paper. She can read and write too. Why is she a servant girl? Right, so before Mama could come to a conclusion, she gets interrupted by Suire, as you can see, like, later on, all those whole section that happens after that. But this is the part where I was talking about. So it is pretty obvious now that there's something different about Shisui. She is not who she seems to be. So I've been saying this from that episodes onwards, where we get to that like, ghost incident, like, episode, where we got to see Shisui more closely, and I observed her mannerisms and her eyes, and I realized there's a huge possibility she's Lolan. This whole section that Mama, like, was reading, this whole section kind of makes me lean more towards that direction, because all these questions that Mama has asking now, all can be answered if you if you think, and if you, like, and if like, if Shisui is actually Lolan, all of these can be answered. Because, if she's Lolan, number one, she is a very, obviously, she's a very high, like, like a, she's royalty, basically. So that would mean it would be no surprise if she could read and write. It would be no surprise if she has access to paper back in those days. And, all these questions can be answered if she's Lolan. So I'm leaning more towards the direction now. Let's wait and see. Now, before all of that, like I said, we got interrupted here. One thing surprised me here is Suide somehow got her hands on Shisui. So she took Shisui as a hostage. And obviously, now Mama got taken or kidnapped, I guess. Right. So, yeah. Damn, so many things happen back to back. Now, we still don't really know what exactly, like she did say what she's trying to do. She said she's trying to make a resurrection potion. Now, I have no idea how the hell is she going to do that. But I guess, like, I guess this kind of, like, it's kind of connecting to a few things. For example, if you remember the whole mushroom incident, if you remember the whole zombie mushroom thing, yeah, like, all these are kind of pointing towards the whole like life after death, like that type of thing. So you know what, let's wait and see, because she still haven't uh, told us in detail what she's trying to. She just said that she's trying to make a resurrection potion. And I guess, you know what, it's kind of interesting because I guess it kind of matches. As far as I can remember, there was a person in, I think, ancient China who was ordered by their emperor or whatever to make a resurrection potion. And that, what was the person's name? Jufu, right? It was Jufu, right? Who was tasked with making like a resurrection potion and like something like that. Wait a minute. You know what? Let me check. So this, obviously, this is being like, this show is happening in China, ancient Chinese, like, yeah. So yeah, so Jufu, Qin Dynasty alchemist, was famously sent by Emperor Qin Shi Huang to search for legendary elixir of life. Yeah, also known as the resurrection potion. The elixir was believed to reside in the mythical Penglai Mountain, a place said to be home to immortals. Jufu's quest for elixir involves expeditions to the eastern seas with large groups of young people, never resulted in finding it. Yeah, so this is like a very very popular like a story, like Jufu's quest for like the potion of immortality. And so like, but I guess, wait a minute, just a minute, potion of immortality, right? Let me just double check again. Or was it, just a minute, yeah, elixir of immortality. Okay, I guess it's a bit different, yeah, because she's saying that she's trying to find a potion of resurrection, while Jufu was associated with the potion of immortality. Like, resurrection and immortality are two different things. So yeah, but it has, at the end of the day, both are something that has to do with life after death, right? And not really, but one is to extend your life, and one is to, yeah. So both is involved with life, like like lifespan. So in that sense, that's kind of interesting, because because this is also happening in ancient China. You can kind of find that connection here. But anyways, this person apparently, Swede, is trying to find. Here we go. I know you'll follow me, so. Okay, yeah, this part. So, don't you want to know how to make the resurrection medicine? Yeah, there you go. So, anyways, then Mao Mao got taken, I'm assuming, because I did find it a bit weird because they suddenly cut that scene and just went to the section with, with those two, like Shisho and Mao Mao's father. What was his name? I forgot his name. Anyways, Lakan, right? Yeah. Okay, so here Lakan apparently found out the Feifa schematics, and he is trying to interrogate, or not interrogate, you would say, but he's like bringing these up in front of Shisho, and he's like, oh, like, it's a bit of a surprise, right? Like, that's, and Shisho was like acting like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, like, oh, that's interesting, this and that. So yeah, unless until he has any type of like really good evidence, they cannot really do anything here. But yeah. Now, okay, you know what? I genuinely didn't realize that was Adu up until the end. I was like, wait a minute. At first, I was thinking Jinshi is deliberately making that voice, that feminine voice or something. I don't know why. I thought like that was like his way of kind of, like emulating the emperor's younger brother, or yeah, imitating like that. But then, then when she took out the mask and the, like the everything, the veil and everything, and she still kept talking like that, I'm like, okay, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like Jinshi, that is Adu. So I was tricked completely, because these two look so similar. It's very difficult to understand who is who. But at the end, the reason why Adu is here is because Jinshi is, involved with trying to find Mama, which makes sense because if Mama got captured there, then obviously this must have gotten out, right? Jinshi must have heard it. So Jinshi, in no way in that type of situation, would go and like attend a meeting or whatever. You know, he'd be too preoccupied, and he would try to probably find Mama in any way possible. So that's why he asked Adu to come and help him out, because both of them look almost the same, and she could easily act as Jinshi's replacement, as a body double, right? Okay, and yeah, and that's where it ended. So everything kind of made sense by the end of it. Um, but now obviously Mao Mao has been captured, and we don't know where she's been taken. Like Speedy did say that you're going to get your answer quick, but yeah. Now let's wait and see, because so many questions are. It seems like a lot of questions will be answered little by little. A lot of questions that we've had up until now. One of the questions that we're almost at the brink of getting answered is the true identity of Shisui, which I've constantly been saying that it's Lolan. So I feel like that will be answered very soon, because Mao Mao today came very close to realizing, after reading that book, that there's something different about Shisui. Shisui is not who she seems to be. She's not just a normal servant, you know, something else about her. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, let's wait and see how this, whether what I have been saying up until now, whether it is correct or not. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. But yeah, we'll have to see. Wait and see. Okay, and right. Wait, just a minute. Let me just double check something. Right. Okay. Okay. Nah, it's fine. Okay. And there you go. That was today's episode. You know what? The first part of today's episode, right, the beginning part where we can see, like Loman is like writing down the whole thing. Oh, another thing that Loman did was pretty intelligent, which is, and he said that he used to do that before. Like as Mama said, like he is very intelligent, and he knows ways how to make everything work smoothly. For example, here, obviously, instead of writing down the note, which they're going to, like paste in every single place, like those instructions, instead of writing them down himself, obviously back in those days, printing wasn't a thing, so you have to like handwrite them. So instead of doing that himself, he was like, oh, you guys have opened a school, right? They're being taught how to read and write, right? And then he was like, okay, let's he wrote that, and he's like, bring it to them, tell them to practice this, and the finished product, go and paste it. So he is not only helping the students uh, to write something, it's going to help them practice, but it's also going to reduce the effort to mass produce them. So two birds, one stone, he's doing it. And that is actually a brilliant plan, actually. Like you're not only helping the students, you're also like saving time on yourself. So stuff like this. And Mama was like, even though he's this smart, and he's like, he can make people work this easily and smoothly, in a very, like minimalized, like effort put, make the best out of it, that type of talent, he could have easily done something with his life, but he is there living a modest life and helping people out, helping people who cannot afford medical, like care, and yeah, helping those people out with minimal or almost no fees. And yeah, he's just because he's that type of a person. Like, he could have been something else completely. He could have just made use of his talent and just lived the easy life in the palace. But no, he is, yeah, he's different. Um, okay, right. And there you go. That was today's episode. That was a really good episode. Little by little, it really like took a turn. And like I said, at the beginning it was like, oh, it was just like normal stuff going on. But then suddenly when Mama realized that, oh, this lady here, she's the one who actually orchestrated, like she was like the puppet master in the back, making Shin make the potion, like the abortion drugs. Like she was the one who gave her the ingredients and everything and how to make it. And yeah, that is from that point onwards things started escalating, like more and more. Then Suide comes in. um yeah, Mama gets captured. Jinshi's now trying to find Mama. Adu's here trying to fill you know the place left by Jinshi currently, like she's acting as his body double. Yeah, you know what, I never thought that Adu's going to be back, because I don't know, I thought like she's just, that's it, we'll never see her again or something like that. So it's nice to see him. But yeah, I guess it makes sense, like she was quite an important character in season 1. So I guess it's not a surprise that she's back. She will be back now and then, I guess. Okay, and yeah, that was my reaction to today's episode. Alright, that was my overall impression. Now let me check if I missed anything. Let me talk about this episode scene by scene. In the very first scene, you can see Mao Mao is looking at the hairpin that Jinshi told her to wear. She kept it to herself. Didn't put it on her hair, but kept it to herself. Because obviously we get to know that if Mama did that before and everyone like asks her that, oh, who's this, did Jinshi did this, why did you suddenly start wearing it, all sorts of questions. So she was like, no, I don't want any of that nonsense. Yeah, I'll keep it with me for now at least. And then we can see uh, Loman is there with the doctor, the quack doctor. I think his name was, what was his name? Wait a minute. He mentions his name now once or twice. I can't remember. You're right. Mama was making mugwort for Lady Gyokyo's moxibustion. Gwen, that's his name. Alright. So we just know him by the like by what Mama calls him, like the quack doctor or something. But his name is Gwen. So Loman is like, oh, ask Gwen for permission. And he like wrote down the thing, the instructions, what to keep away from this and that. Also, Mama mentioned here that Jinshi specially made sure to bring him to the, okay, that was assigned to the doctor's office, not directly to the Jade Pavilion, because this is going to not only help Gyokyo, but it's also going to help Lihua because she's also pregnant, and he could also help them, because if he gets directly like involved with the Jade Pavilion, then like it's, yeah, like the other people who will need help, like Lihua and others, they won't be able to get the help, because we know how much crazy the whole competition is between the different pavilions. So anyone exclusive to one pavilion, if they go and do something in the other pavilion, yeah, that's not a good sign. Like people take it in a very weird way. It's like a very competitive thing. So that's why they made sure that he's assigned to the doctor's office, so he's more of a neutral person that can help anyone and everyone. Okay, so he writes down all of these and he tells Mao Mao to he tells Mao Mao to go and ask the people, the children, the ones who are trying to learn to read and write, make copies of this and post it on the bulletin board or whatever. So it's going to help them practice their writing, and it's also going to reduce time of mass producing them. So that's that. Later on, you can see Mao Mao was getting those things. I don't know what those were. Those things that she brought. And the cat Mao Mao was trying to, like bother her with that. Anyways, then Mao Mao gets the thing. She first decides to go to the guy, the teacher, that guy who knows about his father, and he's like, oh, wait a minute, this is Loman's handwriting, right? And then Mao Mao tells him that, oh, he's actually here, this and that. And he's like, oh really, wow, that's good. Okay, now, okay, now he kind of reminisces about him and Loman back in the days, how, like everyone used to like copy Loman's handwriting because everyone thought like that's going to bring them big, like, more marks and everything. And how Loman was always like this. He did the same thing before as well. And you know what? This is where Mama, everything clicked. And Mama was like, wait a minute, he wrote this before as well. Now I don't know why. I thought like the reason why Mama was getting suspicious here, I was like, wait a minute, is Loman's memory failing or something? Is that why he's what she's thinking? But no, turns out it was none of that. It was actually Mama was actually surprised at the fact that Loman wrote this before. So this is where Mama puts everything together. Everything starts connecting the dots. So after knowing this, Mama deduced. Mama was like, okay, so back in those days when my like Loman was here, he wrote this and he did the same thing, circulated this thing. So anyone who has been here from that day, and if they have some kind of a medical, like like background, they might actually get to know which things not to use and use that knowledge to do something bad. Because obviously usually if you tell some person like, oh, you know what, these things, don't touch these things, these are harmful, normal people, they'll be like, okay, I'll stay away from these. But anyone who's trying to do something bad, they will use that as an opportunity and use those knowledge for something bad, you know so he's now Mama was like, okay, is this how suddenly Shin got those, like the knowledge how to make the abortion drugs, you know but then she's like, but usually most of the uh, people in the rare palace, they are in like they are like replaced right now and then. There's not many people who has been staying here for a long amount of time. But then Mama, after that Mama goes to um the clinic, and this is the only place Mama realized that she realized that, yeah, this is the only place where old people are here. And since old people are here, that means they have been here for a long amount of time. There's a huge possibility that someone from back in my father's day has been here from then, and they maybe got to know about these ingredients from back then, and use those knowledge now to endanger Lihua. So she, like, in her head it's there. She's like thinking of it, and then she goes to the clinic, and she talks to wait, what was her name? Shenliu, right? Yeah, she talks to Shenliu. Now here she gives her the disinfectant and everything. She's like, okay, let me make tea, and all of that. Yeah, and from here she's been sitting down and she's been thinking that Shenlu obviously has been here for a long amount of time, and she herself says like, yeah, I've been here from like 10 years old. And this is where Mama was like, back in those days obviously the previous emperor had brought all the people, all the children and the teenagers over here, like we know what he used to do. And they have been trapped here. And this is also where Shenyu said that even if I go back, get away from the rare palace now, I have nowhere to go. Like, and just like me, there's so many people here like just like me. We have no place to go, no family, no friends, nothing. We have nothing there waiting for us in the outside world. So for this is where Mama was like, for these people, this place is a place of resentment. They have a lot of resentment in them for the rare palace, the royalty. It's just, yeah, it makes sense. Alright, I'm going to read this section now because Mama here describes the whole incident, how it happened. And I think it's better to read this whole section because this is a very interesting way, she puts everything together, it connects the dots, and it makes very much sense. Okay, before Shendu was worried about the servant who fell ill at the Crystal Pavilion and asked me to check up on her. I just thought she was a considerate and observant court lady, but Perhaps it was Shenryu who taught Shin, the head lady in waiting at the Crystal Pavilion, how to make abortificants patients. What if she delivered the message indirectly through that sick servant girl? Yeah. Okay. So here we get to see what happened. So this girl came and she was like, "Oh, the coughing won't stop," and Shenryu was like, "Okay, show me. Is it contagious?" She says like, "Is something wrong? I don't want Lady Liha to get hit. Possibility that she's pregnant. She gets to know that she's pregnant here, and as soon as Shenryu learns that, she's smiling. You can see, and she's like, "Oh, give this to Lady Shin, the lady hidden lady in waiting. These are things harmful to pregnant women. Some can be used induce abortions if combined. So make sure to keep her away from this. This information will be useful for Lady Liha." Now, and this was, if you remember, a long time ago in one of the episodes, like when we didn't even know Shin properly, Shin came down and this lady gave something to her, and Shin read that, and Shin kind of like, had like some kind of revelation. This was that. So the servant lady came and gave it to Shin. Shin read it, and she was like, "Oh, perfect opportunity. I can use this information to make these things, abortificants or whatever they're called." Okay, sharing these information to those with a bad intention, learning about what is poisonous. Yeah. If a caravan arrived at the right time to provide these ingredients, yeah, of course they would go for it. Why did they sell it? Perhaps the court ladies at the clinic told the merchants which scents they wanted. Yeah. I don't know if she was involved in all of the incidents so far. Even if it never became full on murderous intent, resentment must have festered gradually over a long time within the Red Palace. So that is how the whole thing proceeded. So basically, that lady, the servant lady, came and asked, Shenju for some medication, and she was like, "Oh, I don't want Liha to get get infected. She might be pregnant." As soon as Shenryu got to know that, since Shenryu have read what Loman wrote back in the days and probably remembers it still, she knows what are harmful for pregnant women and everything. And she was like, perfect opportunity. She wrote that down, and she was like, in Crystal Pavilion, there's definitely someone there who might actually want something bad happening to Lihua. So she took a gamble. She took a gamble and she just wrote them down and gave it to her, hoping that someone uses this information to do something. Yeah, it's just resentment. She directly didn't go and try to attack her or harm her or tell Shin to make it. She just gave the information expecting someone to make use of it, and that is going to make her happy because of her resentment towards the Rare Palace and anyone involved with it. And that exactly played out like she planned. Shin immediately took that opportunity, and back then the caravan was there, so she easily got her hands on the ingredients. If you remember, Mama multiple time mentioned how she always had a certain different perfume on her. She was using that perfume to mask the smell. They mentioned this before. Mask the smell of the abortificants, that she was using, and that is why, she always used to get, Mama used to get that smell. Now she then made the thing, and we all know what happened after that. We saw what happened. So that's why Mama was like, even though she directly didn't really do anything, she was behind this. And Mama was like, should I confront her about this? But if I confront her about this, I don't have anything to prove. I cannot do anything. Another thing will happen if she confronts her about that. She won't get a proper result out of this, and she will be on her guard. There's a possibility, things might not go well because of that, because she won't be able to prove it. Also, if by some way or the other they are able to pin actually make her say that, oh yeah, I'm guilty, I'm the one who did it, obviously they're going to punish her. We know what's going to happen. This whole clinic might shut down. If this whole clinic shut down, already this clinic is such a big help for all the ladies in waiting, the servants, and for their problems and everything. They're doing a great job. They're probably saving like, I don't know, like maybe like hundreds of lives each month, like from, because back in the days, like a normal common cold could have killed someone if they didn't get a proper like a proper what do you call it, diagnosis and a proper like treatment. Like back in the days, it was that. Yeah, so all these things they're doing, they're helping people. And if somehow the clinic shuts down, that'll be a disaster. Already we don't have enough people in the medical scene in the Rare Palace, and this whole place, if it shuts down, that will be horrible. I think that's what Mama says, right? Where's that part? Should I question her? uh, and Shenryu's like, what's wrong? It's nothing. Okay. All right, so Mama says, I shouldn't. There's no proof, not even a testimony. Cannot make vague accusations. This is the only place where a sick worker can get reliable treatment. Yeah, if somehow this place shuts down, that'll be bad. And she's like, I can do all that I can do is nip the bud at the resentment bud at its, like at its, yeah. So that it doesn't fester. Then Mama looks at those books, and then she finds the books with insects. This is where again she starts questioning. She's like, wait a minute, didn't Shisui have that book? How did she get her hand on a book with page? Like, page is like very important. And she also realized she can read and write at that time. So as soon as she was questioning Shisui, in comes Suide. And then Suide was like, oh, this girl, this girl is very intelligent. She knows what you did. And this is where Shenryu also realizes that, oh, she messed up. Anyways, yeah, and Shenryu, Suide is then like, don't move. She has the pin in the things, needles. Hand is like, shaking. And this is where Mama was like, her hand is probably shaking because of that incident in season 1, this part. After effect of the resurrection medicine. After the attempted assassination at the ceremony, you pretended to drink poison and die. Yeah, so being in that near death state for a while must have taken a toll on you. And she's like, do you want to know what my goal is? And she's like, I'm trying to make the resurrection medicine. And she's like, you're going to come with me. And Mama was like, oh, like, if I don't want to go. And then she's like, oh, you will. And then she brings in Shisui, who she has taken hostage. And she's like, you will follow me now. And then we suddenly cut off that scene. We move with the section with Lakan and Shisho, where Lakan and Shisho and the younger emperor's younger brother, at first I thought that was Jinshi, but later on we get to know that's Adu in Jinshi's disguise. So they brought in the Shisho here, and they have the whole conversation. Lakan talks about those guns. What were they called? The Feifa. And he like questions. He's like, oh, like, you have any idea about what this is, this and that? And Shisho doesn't falter. He's like, oh, I have no clue what you're talking about, this and that. And this continues, and then we have Lakan like divert the conversation, and he's like, oh, you see, like me and my wife were playing Go, and so like this kind of shows Lakan is extremely intelligent, and like obviously it's not a surprising fact. We know how intelligent he is. But he's so cunning. You see what he did here? At first, he was questioning him. So at that point, if he offered the wine, Shisho probably would have realized that something is wrong, and he probably wouldn't fall for that trick of color blindness trick, But because he suddenly changes the whole topic into something about his wife, he's like, oh, look at this, my wife and I was playing, and this and that. Shisho here lowers his guard. And he's like, oh, I have to go. I don't have much time. Since he lowers his guard, this is where she diverts the conversation again. And he's like, okay, before going, why don't you take a little bit of wine? I brought glass, glass made utensils, so that the bright red color is actually visible from the outside. And he pours it in. It's like bright green. And this is where Shisho's guard was like lowered, because a few moments ago, literally, she was talking and bragging about his wife. So his guard lowered down here. So he didn't even question if Lakan was playing him or not. He was like, "Oh yeah, it is bright red," and this is where the whole thing fell apart. Where if he was trying to hide the fact that he couldn't see, like in his blindness, he failed, because Lakan actually got that out of him at that point. So that was very cunning of him to suddenly change the subject into something very normal, so that he lowers his guard and then strike him with the trump card, which was the wine. Now, obviously, you can see Adu and like they also realized what happened. The only person who had no idea what's going on is Shisho here. Obviously, you know what, this part. Yeah, cannot we want this grape juice served in a glass cup? Really brings out the red. It's green, and others like, oh, huh? What? Shisho is like, ah, yeah, it is ended quite beautifully, yes, isn't it? Yeah, he didn't say anything about, like, obviously, you're saying that you're pouring something red and it's green, so obviously the other person would be like, what the hell? That's not red. He didn't say anything like that, so that means he cannot see. Now that was proved there. So okay, now, like I said, I feel like we're going to get something out of this, obviously, but don't know exactly what. But it has been previously established that anyone who has color blindness is probably involved with the late empress's bloodline, or like, yeah, like that is basically what has been established, right? And Shisho is supposed to be, wait a minute, let me double check. Shisho is supposed to be, I think, Prime Minister of Lee. Yeah, right. So I cannot really say how this is going to, yeah, like how this is like going to get connected to whatever is going to happen. But let's wait and see, because yeah, maybe I'm forgetting something, maybe. Yeah, but obviously, like, he has color blindness. It is pretty obvious from this, and this will probably connect into something big. Otherwise, they wouldn't have shown this scene. Anyways, after that, we get to see that Adu is the one who was in the disguise, and this is where they reveal that Jinshi is actually busy with trying to find Mao Mao. That's why they brought in Adu for help, and that's where it ended. So that was a really good episode. Like a lot of things, like things suddenly started moving, in a very fast way, and a lot of things happened today. Let's see what happens now that Mao Mao has been taken. And yeah, and there you go. That was my reaction to episode number 16 of Apothecary Diaries Season 2. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you haven't subscribed, comment down below. Anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know, I'll check them out. That is it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Apothecary Diaries. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.